This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Earlier this summer, Canadian government officials said they didn't want to play the China card when it came to President Trump's tariffs, but it sure looks like they're ready to do that. Canada didn't like it when Trump slapped 35% tariffs on Canadian goods. Things got worse when Trump taunted Canada about becoming the 51st state, which made Canadians even angrier. So now Canada is looking at opening the door to Chinese EVs by dropping the 100% tariff that it imposed on them a year ago. Officially, Canada says it's considering dropping those tariffs as a bargaining chip to get China to drop tariffs on Canadian agriculture. But there's more to it than that. This summer, a Canadian diplomat told Autoline that it didn't want to play the China card over U.S. tariffs on cars and components, but that it would if it had to. If Canada does drop the tariffs on Chinese EVs, the U.S. will suddenly find Chinese electrics on its southern and northern borders. And here's a major victory for a Chinese automaker in Europe that also involves Canada. Magna, the giant Canadian supplier, is going to start building 2 EV models for GAC at its Steyr assembly plant in Austria. The models are the A-Ion V, which is a midsize SUV, and the A-Ion UT, which is a compact hatchback. The A-Ion V will be priced at 37,000 euros, which is very similar to a VW ID4, but significantly cheaper than a Peugeot E3008. Most of the parts to make the cars will be imported from China, but with local assembly, there will be enough local content to avoid the EU's tariffs on imported Chinese EVs. Automotive News first reported the story, and it's expected to be made official next week. Earlier this year, President Trump pardoned Trevor Milton, the founder of Nikola, who was convicted of securities fraud by a jury. And now the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, dropped its lawsuit against Milton. You may remember that an investment firm called Hindenburg Research accused Milton of fraud, including rolling one of his fuel cell semis down a hill, recording it, and claiming it was a running prototype. Nikola's stock dropped on that news, and it ended up filing for bankruptcy earlier this year. Have you seen any of GM's Brightdrop electric vans on the road? You can buy them, you know. They're on sale at some Chevrolet dealerships. But so far, sales are tiny. In the first half of the year, GM only sold 1,592 of them, so it temporarily shut down the Cami plant in Canada that makes them. But GM is going to resume production in November, albeit at much lower volume. The plant will only operate on one shift and at lower line speed, and it's no longer going to assemble battery packs in the plant. We wonder what the future holds for Brightdrop. GM is joining forces with Hyundai to develop an electric commercial van.
Developing today's vehicles, issues can happen in an instant. What good is knowing your problems without the data to solve them? Meet Wireless Neovi Cloud, your secure off-the-shelf solution, empowering real-time collaboration for quick resolution. With Wireless Neovi Cloud, your team can prevent issues before they can escalate. Driver communication data and remote diagnostics to analyze and resolve your problems using OTA, allowing your executives oversight throughout the process. Wireless Neovi Cloud, your vehicle update solution in production and on the road. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
Could this be a sign that Stellantis is getting rid of Maserati? It's replacing Maserati with Citroen as one of its factory teams for the next Formula E racing season. Maserati has competed in Formula E for 3 seasons, winning the Constructors' Championship in its debut, but finishing 9th most recently. It's unclear if that performance played a role in the switch, but Maserati isn't performing well in other areas either. Through the first 6 months of the year, it sold about 4,200 vehicles around the world, a decline of 35% compared to a year ago. However, Maserati still has plans to be part of the racing series. It says it's committed to being a manufacturer when Formula E moves to its new Gen 4 cars after the upcoming season. And in case you didn't know, Stellantis' other factory team in Formula E is DS Automobiles. This could really slow down General Motors' vehicle development. It had to close one of the main engineering buildings at its Warren Tech Center near Detroit because 2 employees tested positive for Legionnaire's disease. It's not clear yet if the building is the source, but GM decided to shut it down, quote, out of an abundance of caution. The building will remain closed until at least September 22nd, pending further test results. Around 10,000 to 11,000 employees work in the building, but for now, they'll work from home or at another GM location. Legionnaire's disease is a form of pneumonia caused by a bacteria that spreads through water systems. And a correction here. Yesterday we reported that Joby Aviation gave 50,000 passenger rides last year. Well, actually, Joby bought a company called Blade, which uses helicopters, not VTOLs, and it's the one that gave those rides. Automakers are under pressure to cut costs and speed up EV development, and that's pushing the industry towards gigacastings, using fewer, larger aluminum parts. But those massive castings require tougher, more complex molds. So, the Fraunhofer Institute, MacLean-Fogg, and Toyota developed a breakthrough in mold making. Using a new laser 3D printer and a specially engineered steel called L40, they were able to produce very large die casting molds with integrated cooling channels, something that conventional machining can't achieve. Toyota tested the process on a mold for the Yaris hybrid transmission housing. The new tool lasted up to 4 times longer than traditional molds, cut down on maintenance, and reduced production downtime. For automakers, this means faster development cycles, lower tooling costs, and the ability to build multiple parts from one mold, a major advantage as the industry ramps up mega and gigacastings for EV platforms. The push for more efficient EVs just got a boost from a very tiny new component. Murata Manufacturing has unveiled a world-first thermistor designed to improve the reliability of electric vehicles. A thermistor is a kind of resistor whose resistance changes with temperature. The new thermistor can be placed directly on high-voltage circuit boards, something that conventional components couldn't do. Its resin-coated design allows it to safely sense temperatures up to 175 degrees Celsius, preventing heat-related failures in power semiconductors. By allowing for more accurate temperature monitoring, the new thermistors enable engineers to design more compact and efficient power modules, which could free up valuable space inside vehicles for more batteries or for passenger comfort. iMotion says it's bringing automated parking to the mass market by solving 2 big challenges: technical complexity and cost. Its APA system not only parks vehicles, but can guide them up to 3 kilometers along learned routes using cameras and ultrasonic sensors. The system uses bird's eye view cameras and AI-based 3D mapping, but instead of requiring costly processors, it runs on Renesas's 34 TOPS chipset, which are far cheaper and offer the same performance. That efficiency could let automakers bring advanced parking and driver assistance features to more budget-friendly vehicles. Toyota took the already very capable GR Yaris and developed a new Aero package with input from the racers that drive the full-blown competition versions of these cars. There's a total of 6 modifications. That includes a new aluminum hood with a duct on top of it to help the roughly 300 horsepower turbocharged 3-cylinder engine dissipate heat and stay cool. Additional ducting was applied to the fenders and bumpers as well, while a front lip spoiler helps improve high-speed stability. Lastly, covers over the bottom of the fuel tank improves airflow, and a large adjustable rear wing sits on top of the hatchback. The Aero package version of the GR Yaris goes on sale in Japan at the start of October, and pricing ranges from about $27,500 to $39,500. And that wraps up this week's worth of news. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you again on Monday.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Alex Partners, when it really matters. CSP, the Composites Solution Partner. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. And thanks to the following YouTube and Patreon members.
At CSP, we work with OEM engineers across the country on their journeys to lighter, safer, and more eco-friendly vehicles. Learn more at thecsp.com.
We act, we grow, we transform, we protect, we rescue. In moments that define the future, we are the partner you can trust. Alex Partners, when it really matters.
Wards is the industry leader for news, data, and analysis. That's why companies across the globe subscribe to our premium service, maybe even your own. Log in for subscriber access now. Check your company's intranet for details, and rely on wardsauto.com to keep you informed.